Right now, we've got Kyle, the president of the Georgia Club Hockey Team, hopping in with us. Kyle, thanks so much for hanging out, for hopping in. You're a busy guy. You're all decked out in all the gear. We're excited to have you, man.
Thanks for having me on here, boys. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. So, Kyle, the president of the Club Hockey Team. Luke knows a lot more about the Club Hockey Team than I do. So,
Then both of us do. Luke is the hockey expert here, so we'll let Luke take it away.
Yeah, so, we were just talking about Georgia football. What do you think about Georgia football team so far this year? I mean, did you make it to the first game last weekend?
Yeah, obviously everyone's keeping up with that, but, I don't know. Not too interesting games to watch. So everyone's really looking forward to Notre Dame. I'm sure everyone's got that circled on the calendar. Have since 2 or 3 years ago since it was scheduled. That's obviously what everyone's looking forward to. Arkansas State, not really the most exciting game either, but nonetheless, good time.
Is there going to be a huge hockey team watch party for this Notre Dame game? Tell me about that.
Yeah, a lot of us usually just go to the game together and whatnot, tailgate together. Definitely a tight-knit group of guys. That should be a fun one the whole day, even through the night. Should definitely be a fun time.
okay, Kyle, so before we keep going, let's give everybody kind of like as if it's the first day of class. Everyone listed it in, like your year. You're obviously a student. You're president of the Club Hockey Team. What position do you play in hockey? And then, like, you're like 6'9". Give us your height and, like, can you dunk? Like, what's your vertical? So kind of like the Cliff Notes, like your little bio.
Yeah, so I'm born in Nashville.
Nice.
I'm third year junior. Hockey team all 3 years. Definitely filtered a lot of really, really talented players in and out. But, as I'm getting to be an upperclassman, having to step into some of those roles a bit more. But, yeah, 6'4", 200-pound defenseman. So those are some big skates to fill. But I don't know. I enjoy doing it. I definitely when all the guys around us like if you're playing for like your boys rather than just like another kid wearing the same jersey as you, it's a lot easier. So that helps.
6'4", 200, man. That's a lot coming at you if you get hit on skates. I don't know how you feel about getting hit by somebody like that.
Well, I can't skate, so it's a good thing.
I would fall down before I even reached Kyle. So hats off to you for being able to skate up and down the ice. That's the most challenging part of hockey, in my opinion.
What would you say biggest hit you've delivered in college hockey? What game was it? Do you remember like one big hit that just like stands out to you?
I don't know as far as like on the Richter scale big hit, but down in Savannah at that tournament, I don't remember if it was last year or my freshman year. There's like 6,000 people there watching, and so even if you tap someone, the whole place goes bananas. But I had like I don't know like how big of a hit it was, but definitely like flattened some kid out, and like then the whole arena is like the ohs and oohs and whatnot. So that one like definitely sticks up. But otherwise, I don't think about doing that the night before, like lining up kids. It just kind of happens, so it's not something that really like sticks in my brain as, I had this hit number 12 on Georgia Tech. Nothing like that. Just kind of go out there and just go with the flow. And obviously, big hits are rolled in there too.
What's the team dynamic kind of like this year? You're an upperclassman now, but is the team overall skewed a little bit younger? I know Carter Pension's out the door, so that's a big role to fill. So what's kind of the team outlook?
Yeah, so we definitely have a lot of new guys coming in this year from, there's guys Maryland, Wisconsin, and whatnot. So, and for a lot of them, they obviously, most of them hadn't been to Athens more than once or twice before. So getting them to Athens last week in the first football game, get all the guys acquainted to the culture and, what's going on. A kid from, there's a new goalie coming from Massachusetts, and a kid who transferred from Aurora, and they just like it was Murray State, and they were jaws dropped the whole game. And I was like, you guys literally have zero idea of what's coming. He's like, yeah, like pretty much high school football is the only thing I've ever done. So that's kind of the cool thing about being at a school like Georgia and playing hockey, to have the exposure to one of the top football programs and atmospheres in the country. It's not something that a lot of the other schools can't boast.
So obviously, you talked about some of the new guys coming in. There's a lot of new faces around the team.
Yeah.
Last year, coming off the SEC HC championship, I believe the team went 23-3 or something like that, and finished the season ranked in the top 5 in the South region. So, what are kind of the expectations going into this season as far as SEC championship, regional play, and national tournament?
Yeah, so I mean, kind of the stereotypical answer is like one game, one step at a time. And I mean, that's somewhat the mentality, but everyone's obviously got that on their mind. SECs is sort of the first thing out of those 3 between regionals and nationals to come around the corner. That's in February. And so, first we got to make it. They added a bunch of new teams this year. And so these first couple games we have next, to Georgia Tech and Kennesaw State. Both of those are, league games. And so we got to play well throughout the year to put us hopefully in a good spot for the tournament. Hopefully we can be top 2 seeds, so we're not playing, another powerhouse like Arkansas or Ole Miss in the first day or two. But otherwise, regionals, nationals, those are 100% a possibility this year. Definitely a solid-looking roster. The sky's the limit. I mean, not to be like a miracle speaker, but you know what I'm saying.
I want to ask a question about, the season starts tomorrow. Obviously, you got your big game. We'll talk about that in a minute. But obviously, the SEC Conference Championships and conference play goes all the way through February. This is a grind of a season.
Yeah.
Talk about the mentality you have to have going into the season and how every single day, the practices you put in. You've been preparing probably all off season to make sure that you try to bring your team back to success like you guys had last season. But what is that grind like throughout the entire season?
Yeah, that's definitely something where, football team, they play 3 or 4 months out of the year. What is it? And we go all the way through like spring break and whatnot. So it definitely is like, you got to watch yourself. You can't overcommit during games, get yourself injured and whatnot, because even if you're 2 months into the season, you're still in the first half of the season. And so you definitely got to be careful. Everything from practices, taking care of yourself through the entire season. And, some games, you're going to be a little beat up than others, but being out there is more important than sitting down, because every game does matter in the long run. Always got to keep your eyes on the horizon, but don't get too many steps ahead, if that makes sense.
All right, I have a request for you.
Yeah.
Can we take WUOG on the road in a couple weeks? You guys are heading to California. You're going to San Diego.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, we pack this whole thing up. We come out there.
Take us there.
Live on the beach.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. So this Cali trip, it's a team from Georgia, from Athens.
Yeah.
And you guys are going out to California in September to play hockey. How does that come about? I know you guys had to do some fundraising and get that whole trip together. What's that like from your perspective? And then the clock's ticking. It's 2 weeks away. How excited are you guys?
Yeah. So, 2 weeks away, still, relatively far away. 14 days. But, as of now, we spent the past couple months all the way through like February planning it. So, pretty much now we're just like smooth sailing. Everything's already set up and whatnot, but definitely to, raise the funds for it. That was something we had to do, which was kind of a pain, especially getting a bunch of hockey players to help out and raise funds to go on a Cali trip. But, after all is said and done, it was something where obviously you don't have to do it. They're not in the SEC. It's not a team that those games postseason play aren't going to matter. But, I don't know. It's just something cool for all the guys to do. It's like none of us are probably going to the NHL, and so to be here, to be out there, all the way in the West Coast, playing San Diego State as the University of Georgia hockey team, that ought to be a lot of fun. But
he's playing it so humble. He's like, it's something cool for the guys. That's awesome. Going to California to play hockey.
Yeah.
Oh, that is sweet.
Yeah, no, all the guys are super excited. Should be a super fun trip.
Well, we'll be cheering you guys on from here, no doubt. But the season starts tomorrow. You said you're on the defense. Did your high school have hockey in Nashville?
Yeah, so I went to high school in Georgia, and so I don't know if you guys have ever seen like Minnesota high school hockey. They like the XL Energy Center is like where the Minnesota Wild play, the professional team, and for those games, they're literally pack that house out when Georgia high school hockey, there's like not enough kids from one school to have a team, so it's definitely more like a recreational thing. Like all the guys who were like really playing hockey played on like a travel team, so to say. But like our school was all of Forsyth County, so like 6 schools or whatnot. But it was, not to like trash it, but it was definitely like a go have fun, not like a go develop your hockey skills thing. But
So going from that mentality of, in high school, it was more of like, hey, let's have fun. Let's get a bunch of guys together and do what we like to do. Going into UGA hockey, obviously you guys are competitive. Everyone loves the Ice Dogs. There's so much hype around this team. I've been to an Ice Dogs game, and
They're
it was
fun.
a blast, an absolute blast. My little brother probably listening. He's a hockey guru. He went to an Ice Dogs game. He had the time of his life. He had more fun there probably than he did at the UGA football games.
Yeah.
Talk about kind of the shift in atmosphere and how much more pressure that might have put on yourself, honestly, because now it's like trips to California are in your horizon now.
Yeah, no, that was definitely, especially coming in as a freshman. You go back to the lowest spot on the totem pole, and the crowds were nothing like I'd ever played in front of before. Like I mentioned, Savannah, there's like 6,000 people in that arena, like, and the majority of them are wearing red.
Yeah,
and even in Athens, some of the games were like, definitely north of 1,000 people are there, and like the Dog Nation culture. I mean, the excellence that comes with football. It's not like explicitly stated that we've got to match that, but that's just sort of like the UGA sports brand, like to be there, be the best, and take care of business every shift, every play. And so, I mean, it's not something that's going through my mind before I'm stepping on the ice and everything. It's something, the weeks before, the months before, that's sort of conditioned and drilled into your head. I mean, once you're out there, you kind of shut your brain off in a way that you're just out there doing what's natural. You're just playing hockey, and that, I mean, there's a lot of thoughts and whatnot as far as plays that go through your mind, but you just kind of play stupid, if that makes sense. Like nothing else matters. You're in that little 200-foot ice sheet, and you're just doing what you've always done. But pressure's there if you think about it, especially for the freshmen who haven't experienced it. But if you embrace it, it's a good time.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for sure.
So first 2 games coming up, obviously we talked about, first game tomorrow against Kennesaw State on the road, and then Georgia Tech on the road. Obviously that's a huge rivalry for you guys. So just before you get out of here, kind of, what are your expectations for the first 2 games? A lot of new faces, getting those guys on the ice and kind of building the chemistry between the new guys and the guys who have been around. So what's your thought process going into these first 2 games, both on the road and kind of getting experience for these new guys?
Yeah. And so practice speed and game speed are definitely 2 very, very different things. And then seeing sort of how much the team can bend, like the other team's going to have explosive plays every now and again. Like they're going to score goals. It's going to happen. And so something that in practice you don't really deal with is the ebbs and flows that come with like any hockey game, and how the guys are going to deal with that. We're going to have to be able to lean on each other, just like, and on paper your team can be as good as it looks, but unless you kind of have that, that team purpose, that there's something greater than the talent and everything. The old saying, like, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard or whatnot. But so just about going out there, working hard, knowing that stuff's going to get hard, and just see how it goes. Not really an expectations score-wise or anything. Just as long as we're working hard, having a good time, I think everything else will come. It has first 2 years I've been here, so.
Yeah, well, Kyle, thanks for hopping on, for joining us. We know you've got a meeting at the Classic Center pretty soon, so we appreciate you carving some time out and hanging out with us. Kyle Harris, the president of the Georgia hockey team. The Ice Dogs start their season at Kennesaw State tomorrow. They're at Georgia Tech next Friday, and then they're out on a West Coast swing, heading out to California. We'll be following along. We'll be cheering you guys on, and hopefully we get you back during the year, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. No, thanks for having me, and all the guys listening, you guys got to come out to the Classic Center for a game. Honestly, a super fun time, but thanks for having me.
All right, home opener, October 11th. Mark it down. That's Kyle Harris. Hopefully he'll be back as the fall goes on. We'll let Kyle go on to his meeting. Kyle, thanks again for joining us.